Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much guys for all your support. Please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please kindly help me hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate your support. If this is the first time you're watching me, thank you so much for making our time to watch this channel, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. For my old subscribers, I want to say thank you. I value your support and I appreciate you. Today's tutorial will be on how to draft a Maxi shirt dress. It's going to be very simple, quick, and straightforward to the illustration. Do sit down back, enjoy this video to the end. Thank you. So my table, I have my fabrics folded on my table, and I'll be making the top part of this dress. So the first thing to get the width of the material needed is your bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance plus 3 inch for the placket. That's the 3 inch for the placket as shown with my ruler. The leftover part will be your bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch sewing allowance for the shirt dress. So all measurements will be taken after the straight line for the button placket. So I'm going ahead to impute my neckline measurement. I'm taking 3 inch horizontally and 3 inch vertically. That is for a medium sized person. So for size 12, 14, 16, you can go ahead and use 3 inch by 3 inch. So go ahead and rule out all lines for the neckline position, and then draw out the curve line for the neckline. Just see what I did on my fabrics and follow the same process, and let's go to the next step. So the next thing I did was to go ahead and mark the shoulder drop, which is 1 inch. After marking the shoulder drop, I'll connect the shoulder drop point to the neckline point, to the neckline curve point, and then draw it out just the same way I've just shown you. So that is the 1 inch that is below. So the next thing we need to do now is to mark out my shoulder measurement. My shoulder distance is 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I'm going to mark out that point 8 as I've just used my pen chalk to do all the fabrics. That is the point 8, the mark. I'll transfer that 8 down to the chest line distance and mark out 8. That will enable me square out the line and rule it out in this direction, and that's what I've just illustrated now. So this line is now called the armhole depth distance, and I'll put a link to my video. I'll put a link in the description section on how to draft a basic block bodice pattern. That will give you like a good idea on what to do. So on the chest line, I'm going to go ahead to impute my bust measurement. So I'll use my bust divided by 4 and mark that measurement there. And then what I have left is a sewing allowance. So we'll go ahead now to develop our armhole curve. So measure out the armhole depth distance, get the midpoint, and once you get the midpoint, go inward 3/4 of an inch, that's 0.75 inch, and then we'll now connect and we'll now make a mark, and that will help us create the front arm. So go ahead and connect all the 3 points together. That is from the shoulder drop to the 0 point to the 3/4 inch and the final bust measurement, and make the armhole curve for the front bodice as shown in this direction. So do yours, and let's proceed to the next step. So this is our armhole curve for the dress. I'll go ahead and measure out from my shoulder to my bust point and put a mark on that point as shown on the fabric. So we need to make the dart for this dress. I'll go ahead and measure out my bust palm distance divided by 2, put down the value at that point, and make a straight line for that value. For my own is 4.25. I'll make out a straight line, and at that point I'll draw out my dart leg, my dart for using 1 inch. That's the dart I have drawn. I'll use a 1 inch, that's ½ inch on both sides. So from the bust points, right, you would, from the chest line, that's the bust point, you just go down 1 inch because you don't want the dart to be directly on the nipple. You just go down 1 inch. You can go down ½ inch depending on what you want, and then create your dart leg. So put down your waist measurement, your waist divided by 4, mine is 9, and that completes the illustration. So this is a final top part of the dress, and we are walking straight off to the half length, which is the waist. I'll just go ahead and show you how we're going to work on the placket parts. I've gone ahead to split the placket width, which is 3 inch, into 3 portions, 1 2 3, and each of the portion is 1 inch. But you can go ahead and make your placket 0.75. It's totally up to you, but this particular placket is 1 inch, and one will be for the interfacing, the line 3. The other one will be for the folding. The last one will be for the overlapping. I will explain this when we get to the button section. So I've gone ahead to fold out my plackets inwardly to enable me cut out the other part of the dress. I'll be cutting from the neckline, and I'll go through the neckline straight off to the shoulder drop direction, and we'll all see what the final look of this shirt top part look like. So this is the look of the top part of the dress. We'll go ahead and separate the piece because it was not cut on a fold, and we have 2 pieces for the front half. We'll go ahead and work on the back now. For the back of this dress, I've gone ahead to make a guideline on top of the fabric. I'll put my neck width measurement on it, which is 3 inch by ½ inch. For the neckline for the back, 3 inch by ½ inch. So I'm going to mark out those 2 values, and then create the back neckline curve based on 3 inch by ½ inch. So that is the back neckline curve I'm trying to create at the back there. So that's it. I've gone ahead to mark my shoulder drop 1 inch, and I'll connect it to the neck point using a straight ruler, just like this. So that's my shoulder drop connected to my neckline point. So the next thing we need to do now is to put down our shoulder distance. My shoulder distance is 8. That is gotten from 16 divided by 2, and then I'll roll out a straight line. I'll roll out a straight line down. So we're gonna go ahead and measure out our armhole depth. My armhole depth distance, I'll mark out the midpoint and go on my chest line, and also impute my bust measurement 10.5, and the sewing and seam allowance 1 inch. I'll mark out that 1 inch, and after doing that, I'll connect the bust point to the mark on the armhole depth, that's the half mark, and I'll create my armhole curve using a free hand, or you can use the curve ruler. On the waistline, I'll just go ahead, that's the waistline, I'll go ahead and measure out the what we call my bust palm, and transfer the measurement on that chest line, which is 4.25. I'll roll out with a ruler, I'll roll out a straight line, and that is the line to which my dart position will sit. So I'll come down by 1 inch from the chest line just to mark out that point on the line. Then on the waistline, I'll just measure ½ inch on both sides. That will help me create that leg. So we'll create the dart shape using those points we have drawn. And remember, I came down 1 inch from the chest line. Don't forget to put down your waist measurement on the waistline, and that's the end of the back dress pattern. The next thing we need to do now is to go ahead and cut out every part that we need for this back neck shirt. Remember, this shirt was cut. Then I had to cut out the back part of the dress, and here is the final look of the dress. So let's go ahead and make the lower part of the dress. So making the lower part of the dress, the full dress length is 58. 58 minus the top part of the dress, which is 16, we have 42 left. So we have 42 plus 1 inch seam allowance for hemming and sewing. So since I'm doing a flared A-line dress, the amount of flare depends on your material. For this particular flare, I'm having 2 pieces, one for the front, one for the back. The back is on fold, as you can see, that's the one down. So the width of the flare for the back piece on fold is 25". When you open it up is 50". But when you fold it back is 25". See my paper illustration to help you with the direction of fold for the back. For the front width of folding for our dress, I had to fold the width of the fabrics. I folded the selvage edge and I folded on 28, 3" for placket. That's a 3" for placket. I have made that rule. I have ruled out the line with the chalk, white chalk on the fabrics, and I'll show you paper illustration of what I did. So for the paper, we have the selvage edge. You fold them together, and when you fold them together in that direction, you will now make your 3" for placket along the selvage edge direction, and then every other thing is the same thing with the back, 25" on fold, just that the front is 28". Then we'll go ahead now and cut out our A-line dress. So all measurement to be taken away from that placket line, I'll go ahead and measure up my waist distance, which is my waist divided by 4, which is 9, and then I will add 1" for side sewing allowance and seam. So that's what I'm going to do first. And so I'm gonna head to impute that measurement 10 on the point on the waistline, and then that is the mark for the 10 on the fabrics. Then I connect that point 10. Yeah, I connected that point 10 to the end of the final length of the fabric to create the A-line curve using my straight ruler in that direction. I've just measure out straight down to the final hem of the dress, connecting that point 10 to create the flare. So from the top part of that skirt, I'll come down ½ That's what I did to create that curve line. I connected that ½ to the point where I draw the A-line skirt from. That's what happened. That's what I did there. So this is the lower part of the dress. Don't forget to cover the hem. I'll go ahead and make a paper illustration of this pattern, just to show a simplified version of it on a paper, because my camera cannot capture everything. So I've just put down the sketch on the paper now, and sorry, the placket is supposed to be 3", the one I'm using, but I put 2.5. So that is the sketch of the skirt, what it looks like. I'll just go ahead and cut it out on the fabrics, and that's it, the final end of our skirt voila. My skirt will be having an inseam pocket, so I've gone ahead to create like an inseam pocket, the pocket, by just placing my hand on my fabrics. Just see what I'm doing and follow the same illustration. I made 4 pieces of pockets, which I'll be installing on the skirt by marking 2" from the side seam and then make a notch for the pockets. So working on the placket, the bottom placket, we'll be using an interfacing material. That's the interfacing I'm holding there. Remember I told you that we have to split the 3" placket into 3 portions, and each portion is 1 inch. The first portion, that's line 3, is where I put the interfacing. I've also gone ahead to sew all the darts on the bodice. So both the back darts has been sewn and the front darts have all been worked on. So the next thing is to stick to the placket design. So that placket has been ironed and pressed on it. I show with my ruler. The next thing I'll do is that placket will be folded to the first line. That is called the folding line, and after folding to the first line, we'll now move it to the next line. That's the final line, which is called the overlapping. This will be the seat of the button, and on that portion now, that is where the overlapping, the button hole will be made. We'll top stitch it down to stick it down, just on both sides, as I have done on my fabrics. You can see the top stitch lines. I've just shown you with my hands. That's what you do. So we'll go ahead and join the shoulder seam for both sides of the bodice, and also join the side seam in that same direction as my ruler pointed on both sides, and the placket is ready. Join the shoulder seam together for both sides, and join the side seam together for the top on both sides, and voila, your top is ready. So it's to also repeat the same process for the lower part of the dress. Alright, so it's time to install our two-piece collar on the dress. The first thing to do is to get half the neckline distance, but I made a separate video on how to make a collar, a two-piece shirt collar. I will put that video in the description section for you to watch the video, just to reduce the amount of time on this video. So let's now go ahead and measure out our neckline and confirm our placket is 1 inch. Then we can now prepare and make and put our collar. So on my table now, the whole dress piece has been installed on my table and the collar is ready. That's the collar I'm holding. It's a two-piece collar, the collar and the collar stand. This collar, I can't wait to install it, so let's do it together. So I've just taken my fabric, just watch the direction to which I will place the collar and pin it in a simplified way before joining it in the sewing machine. So that's my collar. I'm going to pin it in that direction, and then you see how easy it is. So I've pinned it around the whole neck circumference, and I'm going to stitch the lower part, the part that has the stay. I'll stitch it all through, and then I will fold the top, like a conceal fold top stitch on the on it when I finish. So that's it. That's what the collar looks like. So I'll go to the machine now and join everything together and show you what the final looks. Okay, that's the final look of the shirt on my mannequin. And for the sleeve, I already have video on also in my YouTube channel on how to draft your sleeve. I only went ahead to reduce the sleeve to a short sleeve. So please feel free. I'm going to put all links in the description section for you to be able to like access the video on how to make the collar, the video on how to make a basic block bodice pattern, and the video on how to draft your own sleeve. I hope you like this video and this tutorial. Please don't forget to kindly help me hit the subscribe button as a way of supporting me. Like my video, comment and share, and see you all in my next video. Thank you so much guys for your support. Thank you, and please subscribe.